Mayot, Hotel, greetings and all that. I hope everybody's doing okay. Me, myself, I guess I'm doing all right. All things considered, I'm doing all right. I'm sure of it. I shouldn't say I guess. I should say I know. I've been reading a lot of books lately. I'm always doing that though anyway. Anyhow, for the most part. This book that I'm reading right now is called Serpent Power Energy Book. It tells you what the goal of yoga is. These lights that you see flying around in front of you on this TV is what brought the information to men and women on this earth to come into the study of yoga. It says, when we look out upon the world, we are often baffled by the multiplicity which constitutes the human experience. Now, what do we really know about this experience? It goes on to say that many scientific disciplines have developed over the last 200 years for the purpose of discovering the mysteries of nature. But this search has only engendered new questions about the nature of existence. It says yoga is a discipline or way of life designed to promote the physical, mental, and spiritual development of the human being. It leads a person to discover the answers to the most important questions of life, such as, who am I? Why am I here? Where am I? And where am I going? Okay? Okay, so excuse me. So it goes on to say, as explained earlier, the literal meaning of the word yoga is to yoke or to link back. The implication being to link the individual consciousness back to the original source and the original essence, that which transcends all mental and intellectual attempts at comprehension, but which is the essential nature of everything in creation termed universal consciousness. It says, while in the strict sense, yoga may be seen as a separate discipline from religion, yoga and religion have been linked at many points throughout history and continue to be linked even today. In a manner of speaking, yoga as a discipline may be seen as a non-sectarian, transpersonal science or practice to promote spiritual development and harmony of the mind and body through mental and physical discipline, including meditation, psychophysical exercises, and performing action with the correct attitude. So all of this stuff that I just been reading to you, and the inspiration for it to be written came from the people that's pretty much were involved with these lights and paying attention to them, listening to them, getting guidance from them and instructions from them on how to behave and what to say and what to do, and being obedient, even though it might take you somewhere where you seem so out of place and so uncomfortable with doing what it is you have to do. But the pros and cons of it all is going to be the manifesting factor of naysayers or yay-sayers. What I'm saying is, how strong is the desire that you receiving from spirit to make you commit or not commit? Where are you at? Are you really hot or are you cold? Are you lukewarm? What's going on with you? See, that's going to be the factor of making you, before these lights even become available for everyone else to see, have the determination to do what God wants you to do, to come out here looking like a fool and tell everyone, there's these lights flying around and they can talk, and they've been telling me stuff about what's going to happen in the future and this and that. And they've been around since I was a small child. When I was in Hawaii, they came into a room, they called me on the phone, all that stuff I was telling everybody. See? And nobody was believing me or listening to me And so for a long time, all my life, I see now why I've been having these problems. Because see, I was one of the persons that was already spiritually enlightened when I came here as a small child. And since then, my struggle has been to maintain my attachment to spirit as much so as possible. And you can see that there's just so many elemental circumstances out here that is negative toward my being able to ascertain everything that this spiritual abundance of wealth and mental magic as well as physical magic has to bestow to the world. And you see they don't want that to be available to everyone. A lot of people out here just do not want that to be available to everyone at all, okay? It says the teachings which were practiced in the ancient Egyptian temples were the same ones later intellectually defined in a literary form by the Indian sages of Vedanta and Yoga. And this was discussed in our book, Egyptian Yoga, The Philosophy of Enlightenment. The Indian mysteries of yoga and the Vedanta may therefore be understood as representing an unfolding exposition of the Egyptian mysteries. And that's exactly what these books do. Because when you start reading them, they tell you about these lights. That's what made me be drawn to these books. These lights took me to these books. These lights, I call them netters and netterettes. You know, it's a system of the totality of existence in this universe being the light. But when you look into the sky at night and you see the stars and the moon and all of these suns and everything, like I tell you, Sirius is a big star. What Sirius is that five-pointed star, which is a sun, but it's so far away. Sometimes it looks like a star, but it only is really seriously visible at certain times of the year when the sun is at a certain tilt. It's always there, but sometimes it's more vivid than other times. It start at, we're talking about this, it started at the three wise men were following in their mythological demonstration of the Yuletide star. Okay, that they followed up on the birth of Jesus Christ. Okay, now the question is here right now about understanding the Egyptian mysteries and the whole exposition of it all. And this question is how to accomplish these seemingly impossible tasks, how to transform yourself. See, like what you all see me going through right now, and realize the deepest mysteries of existence. Meaning me, when you all can see and know what I have gone through, and you see how I respond to it, and all the principle of the magic of self-healing and everything like that, that I was sent here just to show you all the possibility of it all. You know, they telling you about some Lamb, Jesus Christ and everything, when you all can see that demonstration occurring right now in real time through me, and me being here as these lights accompany me, and me being the lights as I accompany them. You understand? Thus being no different than any other stuff that you're looking at. Now this is where I was living at in Chicago, in this little studio apartment right here. Going through it too. Going through it. People running in there doing the same stuff that's going on here. All right, even though those lights are there too, a lot of people that biting the dust are going through the same stuff that we all see a lot of people going through right here because of their disobedience to spirit. You can see that this spirit that's flying around in this house is more than likely the same spirit that gives energy to the birds that fly, to the snakes that crawl, okay, to the wind that blows, to all the waves in the ocean, and every damn thing is this Kundalini energy, the virus right there. When I used to see it, it was black. Okay, it was black when I used to see it all the time. This right here. Okay, I told people about this a long time ago. I said, there's this thing that's flying around. I be seeing it, and it's black, and it looks squirrely. It looks kind of like hair, and it's squirrely. It flips and it dips all through the sky, and it's three of them, like a trinity. And I said, it looks like energy to me. So when you see it this time, it's only one, but I want you to imagine three of them stuck together like a cone bee. And these things be flying all around in my room. I was telling everybody, there's lights. I can see them flying around in my room, and they can talk. I ended up in the crazy house and every damn thing because I was trying to tell people about all this shit and telling them what these lights was telling me to tell everybody. And since it wasn't having anything to do with Christianity, of course, everybody wanted me to be crazy. But I told them for a long time about this virus was going to come. I was telling them all the time that there was going to be an epidemic that's going to come. And I told them that it looks black like squiggly hair. And it dances. I see it dancing around in the ethers. And it's three of them connected together by a fiber. And this is a small trace of it right here. You see it. It's not the black one that I used to see, but it has the same dance pattern and the same characteristics. It just doesn't have the same volume. That right there is what I'm talking about, that. And you can see all the rest of them too. But this one came the way it did. For whatever reason, I haven't translated down to being the one. But I know that it inspired me when I saw it to speak about the fact that I had saw that other molecular structure that was black. It looked like it had fibers in it, like the fibers that be in a spider. You know, the sticky things that come out of a spider, little hairs. That's what it looked like. Okay, it's so different than these. And all these things, I see them flying around everywhere. They be flies now. When I see them, they be flies. So that's pretty much has something to do with the same indication of the vulture and flies and death and all that stuff. And me explaining to you guys, me being the gatekeeper and having all these lights with me to let you know this is my system of protection, that is always around me. That when people walk up to me, they be thinking about doing something wrong to me, these lights get inside of them and make them change their mind. They have to just abort their mission and leave. And knowing that when you leave your house, a lot of you, you're going to be leaving home with the idea to come to hurt me, and you're not going to get that grace from the universe. Something just going to happen to you on the way there en route to make sure that I never have to worry about you trying to come and do harm to me again. Okay, that's the way this is going to work from here on. Because we serious about this. We're not going to sit around here and watch some people want to play their dumbass game behind their crazy bullshit religion that make them want to try to kill something that's truly universal with a God-sent mission that's going to be beneficial for everyone. And then you got one handful of people that wants to be devilish, that wants to come out and have opposition to all this magic. That's why I tell you all I'm the magician. So if you don't have a problem with dealing with these lights that's going to get inside of you and everything in your house, your animals and your children and your cars and every damn thing, it just make life miserable for you, then, you know, I don't care either. All right? So the question is how to accomplish these seemingly impossible tasks, how to transform yourself and realize the deepest mysteries of existence, and how to discover who am I. And this is the mission of yoga philosophy and the purpose of yogic practices, and the purpose of yogic practices. Yoga does not seek to convert or impose religious belief on anyone. Ancient Egypt was the source of civilization and the source of religion and yoga. Therefore, all systems of mystical spirituality can coexist harmoniously within these teachings when they are correctly understood. That's right, meaning that when somebody come out here trying to just talk to you about what they're going through and trying to explain to you that, just listen, I'm trying to tell you about something that's really amazing about these lights and everything. All the opposition that I received, the negative opposition, the hatred, the wanting to get physical and the wanting to see me, all of the spell work. You know, I just ain't got no right at all to come out here and try to be that the universe truly made me be. I got to live in the fairy tale world with everyone else. And if I refuse that, then everything that I went through, you can all see that. And then at the end of all that, we can see the ill attributes of these vampires and everything that is responsible for all of this shit, to giving you that religion and every damn thing. It's got to be obvious to everyone by now. Okay, who the bad person is not. If you don't know who the bad person is, you definitely should know who the bad person is not. Because even in the storm of all that victimization that you all see me going through, you can see how my whole response to that was full of heroic deeds. Okay, my whole pious attitude behind how to deal with all of that could demonstrate that, yeah, you know, there's something very, very rewarding in his whole manifest. That should be something that we all want to get a piece of for ourselves. That's what you, because all of that stuff that happened right there, you can still see that I'm still sitting here responsible, confident, and resilient, and just ready for whatever as I could be. Okay? So that's what I get from listening to these lights and doing it on my own walk, is the knowing that when it was time for me to release all of my karmic connections that was going to tell me something different. Imagine me trying to talk to somebody about, well, they gave me this confession to make about something that they made me do that's going to make me sound like a goddamn fool when I tell the whole world about that. But these lights saying to me, yeah, but see, it's bigger than you. And this is just the start, because just because you're going to go out there and say that to all them doesn't mean they're going to accept you. It's just going to mean that you accepted us. See, that's what it meant. It meant that they had convinced me, meaning these lights, that they were worth me going out there to humiliate myself and say some stupid ass shit like that to the whole world, knowing that the world had already hated me and they was going to laugh at me and ridicule me and probably want to stomp my ass in the ground and do every nasty damn thing that did in fact happen to me. Okay. But because these lights were so convincing and they told me such a great story about what it is that was going to be in my pathway, that they had put so much thought into making me, of all people, do this walk for them. So it started off as just really being nothing but fear and hesitation because of me not feeling worthy. But as these attitudes of relentless attacks came behind me being obedient and opening my mouth and saying what I was instructed to say, the overflow of all of the negative energy that came at me is what toughened me up to be able to deal with the continuance of the negative energy that I'm sure I have been prepared to go to constant war with. Okay, Elder Guest, I should say. All right? It says the central and most popular character within ancient Egyptian religion of Asar is Heru, his son, who is incarnated of his father Asar. Asar is killed by his brother Set, who out of greed and demonic Satanic tendency craved to be the ruler of Egypt, meaning the world. The same stuff that's going on right now when you got all these people out here that's on their own course about what they want to do with power over everyone's lives. So the universe is sitting up here saying, well, see, we're going to do things the way we want them done from now on, and we got this system of light intelligence that create weather on the earth to back us up. For all the people who don't want to listen, we're going to give you small demonstrations about how detrimental we can get to all of your cities and everything. And then if you still want to sit around and act like you too stubborn to pay attention, then we just go serve your ass. And then that's what I've been here, demonstrating everyone is what Heru wants. And then look, it says Set, who out of greed and demonic Satanic tendency craves to be the ruler of Heru, the ruler of Egypt. With the help of Jehudi, the god of wisdom, Set, and the great mother, and Heru, his consort, Heru prevails to the battle against Set for the rulership of Egypt. And Heru's struggle symbolizes the struggle of every human being to regain rulership of the higher self and to subdue the lower self. What that means is to get away from the programming of modern day controllers and activate your higher self, to come on with the vibrancy of your crown chakra and your pineal gland being activated and thriving enough as to where when you see these lights flying around, you get interested in saying, you know what, they do look like could be the energy that make the flies and the birds and everything fly. If you look at them, that is exactly what they look like. They look like the same flight patterns that the birds and the insects and everything uses. So it would be foolish for me to try to think that there are anything other than the source of animation for all of nature. Of course, that's what these lights are. My acceptance of this make me have to second guess the Jesus thing that we know. Okay. Now let's just keep on. It says, with the help of Jehudi, the god of wisdom, and Set, the great mother, and Heru, his consort. Heru is Heru's grandmother. Heru prevails in the battle against Set for the rulership of Egypt. And Heru's struggles symbolizes the struggle of every human being to regain rulership of the higher self and to subdue the lower self, to put down those third vibrational tendencies and put your foot on them and stand on top of those and say, no, I'm going to vibrate higher. I want my vibratory rate to be way up here way high up here as to where I watch what I eat, which is a problem with me. Don't get me wrong. When I say that, I know I'm talking to myself. And I'm going to watch this and I'm going to watch that. And everything that I do, I'm going to do as divinely as I need to do it. As divinely as I need to do it. Okay? So we want to subdue the Lord's self. And with this understanding, the land of Egypt is equivalent to the kingdom or the queendom concept of, in this book it says Christianity, but it shouldn't say Christianity because this practice of self-governance under divine understanding was in effect way before there was any such person known as Jesus Christ ever alleged to have walked the earth. So we're not going to compare it to Christianity. We're going to say that it is the launching birth of Christianity. Other than compared to Christianity, we're going to tell you about the plagiarization of the Christians that took this from the ancient Kemetic people, which we know as ancient Egypt. Okay, so now the most ancient writing in the historical periods are from the ancient Egyptians, and these writings are referred to as hieroglyphs by the Greeks, but the people who wrote them call it the Medu Neter. And also the most ancient civilization known was the ancient Egyptian civilization. And the proof of this lies in the ancient Sphinx, which is over 12,000 years old. And the original name given to these writings by the ancient Egyptians is the Medu Neter, right? Meaning the writings of God, or the Neter Metu, or divine speech. And these writings were inscribed in temples, coffins, and papyruses, and contained the teachings and reference, to the spiritual nature of the human being and the ways to promote spiritual emancipation, awakening, or resurrection. And the ancient Egyptian proverbs presented in this text are translations from the original hieroglyphic scriptures. An example of the hieroglyphic text is presented on the front cover, okay? So, in case you guys want to know what book I'm reading, it's this book right here. Okay? It's by Muada Ashby. Okay? All right. So, I read more than just the Bible, so you can all know. So on that, there's something else I wanted to tell you about. All right, listen to this. It says, listen to this. It says, most human beings are caught between the first two stages of consciousness at one time or another. There is a mixture of distraction, movement, and dullness. And in this state, a human being does not want to sit still in order to listen to spiritual discourses about the nature of the soul and about the method to attain spiritual enlightenment. And if forced to do so, the mind falls into a state of dullness, and she or he feels asleep, a state of extreme dullness. Now, see, that's what happens when you have what I call spiritual blockage or spiritual bondage, as to where you have a spiritual belief that is off balance and inclusive as well as exclusive of nature and its true ramification of unlimited potential. Okay? So here we go. It says, it is only the stress of egoism, desires, which is suppressing that which is positive, true, and good within the human heart. In some brief and rare occasions, there is an experience of peace, balance, contentment, and tranquility. But many times these feelings are experienced for a brief period of time after an object of desire is acquired, or a situation which one desired comes true. Now these experiences are only glimpses of the totality of happiness and peace which is in the heart. However, in order to discover this, the body, mind, and senses must reach a state of balance, harmony, and peace. And this is possible through the practice of Sama Yoga, or Sama Yoga, listening, reflecting upon, and living in accordance with the meditating upon the teachings and practicing the teachings of Ma'at. Okay? So it says, When yoga is practiced, a purifying movement wherein the ignorance, delusion, restlessness, anger, anxiety, hatred, greed, lust, egoism, selfishness, and vices such as pride, covetousness, lust, anger, envy, gluttony, and sloth within the heart are cleansed. Therefore, Jehudi represents the light of reasoning and the intuitional understanding about the innermost reality within the heart. Jehudi is the sage who is sent by God to find the wayward child, which is the soul, to impart wisdom which leads to illumination of the heart and inner discovery of the truth. And this principle is so pervasive in human culture that it has found expression in the initiated way of education as practiced first in ancient times, in the ancient Egyptian temples, and later in the Indian Upanishad and epic myths of Krishna and Rama, and much later in the Christian baptism of Jesus by John the Baptist. So it tells you that Jesus Christ and John the Baptist came after the Egyptian and the Buddha and the India and everything. It's nothing but a takeoff from all of those temples that got destroyed. That's what it just said right here. Listen what it said. It said, the principle is so pervasive in human culture that it has found expression in the initiated way of education as practiced first in ancient times in the ancient Egyptian temples and later in the Indian Upanishads and epic myths of Krishna and Rama, as which later in the Christian baptism of Jesus by John the Baptist. And these stories have one factor in common. It is the relationship of the sage with the disciple, wherein spiritual knowledge is imparted. And in a true understanding of the imparted demonstrations of spiritual knowledge, it should not be kept into gender package of male dominance. Okay, it's a collective privilege. Men, women, children, animals, everything, okay, are invited. Not just male disciples following a male. The whole society should be getting involved with this spiritual package. All on one accord. All ordained to be as divine as the light would like for them all to be. Okay? And it says, the myth of Heru and Jehudi is similar to the other important initiatic myths of ancient Egypt. The Assyrian resurrection, in which the young child, Heru, is taught about the mysteries of the soul and the universe by his mother, a spiritual preceptor, teacher, Aset, or Isis, as they got her wrote in here, but the real name is Aset. In modern time, this tradition of the spiritual preceptor expiring relationship has been continued through the gurus of Indian yoga and the Sufi gurus of Near East and in Egypt. In popular culture, this teaching has found expressions through popular theater such as Hamlet and in films such as the Star Wars trilogy and The Lion King. And see the book Initiation into Egyptian Yoga by Murata Ashby. Yeah, so they have a lot of books that this author has written on this topic, and he even has a book that demonstrates the first school of arts around theater being that of Egypt, as well as Asia, and all of those civilizations that were not talked about as much in the school systems of the Western school systems, and pretty much just in the honest way forbidden to be taught their own history of the people that were, we all know who I'm talking about, the people that were put under bondage and taken away from their history, and their history hidden from them. Okay? So there is a new wave of critical thinking that's going around. It's an emergent of the philosophical approaches that will be contributing to a radical revision of our social norms and the existential habits that we are all, programmed from time of brainwashing. It's time to ask questions of all the local officials. How can we exist as a post-humanism to all of the garbage that we have all been reared up on, all of the pollutants that's in our body from the mismanaged teaching systems all over the planet. And it's time for us to stage and plan the celebration of philosophical growth that is going to demonstrate our becoming post, if you will, non-humanitarian. All right. But we're going to come up with the urgent questions to be asked, which will bring about all of our being excited to get answers, first of all, being the ones to ask the question and submit the answers, because we know what it is that we all want and need. And so we, as the post non-humanitarian era, the pathfinders to that, according to our own philosophical understandings of what should be voiced, we already know now the potential, our growth, our evolutionary step up, our leap, our jump, as being the responsible humans that we all are. We can be the ones that approach the threshold of success behind this quest. On this mission, we specify what it is that the change will bring about. My best thing will be to bring about a one-sided government first. And most of all will be to see everything become democratic. If I had it my way, I'd try to entice everybody in this country to just all vote Democratic, regardless to what you've done in the past. Let's do something right as a unit of oneness, and if we switch everything away from the corrupt Republican side and at least get everything more powered on the Democratic side, then we together have more influence according to just how we utilize our power to become one-sided or united. And all that stuff on the other side that we see trying to cater to their own acceptance of who they want to be in control for their own self-interest. The eradication of all that will make everything more suited for all of us to have more say-so on the side that is, seriously pro-listening. Okay? That's where I'm at. When you can see that one side is only for themselves and they doing everything to right in your face illegal measures of corruption, and then you're going to just eat and sleep all day and let that keep on going by, when you can see what it is they're trying to do. And you got to do something as dramatic as the causation for you to do something. If there's a dramatic reason for something to be done, what gets done needs to be just as dramatic as the enticing principle, double dramatic. So if you really want to know the truth about it. So this philosophical post-non-humanism, post-non-humanitarianism era that we are striving for comes only after the unity occurs and we all decide that we all want the same thing, which is a one-sided government, not a divided government. You cannot win with a divided government. You end up with divided households everywhere, just like what we all have. And these lights are sitting here trying to demonstrate the solution. They're the ones who saying to me to tell everyone to just get on one side, and right side, the Democrat side. Everybody just vote Democratic and push those other people just out of the picture. And then everybody could at least be on the same page to work together now. Come together with some harmony and a good ideal about what it is that we're going to get done. Because at least you know that you want a one-sided government that's based on democracy and not to the republic for which it stands. Okay? One nation under God. And then it's not even a nation. It says individual, but you got 50 states. That's 50 partitions, 50 border lines. Then you got borders all around the country now. Is that to lock people out or to lock people in? Okay. So we're looking for the celebration to be coming the factor of our conclusion after we initiate our post-non-humanitarian era. Okay? Okay, the new beginning. fact, the beginning. Okay? Because if you can be a person that knows you want better, then you can be a person who's tried to get better. Okay? So it says, blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven and whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord inputteth not iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no guile. Okay, when I kept silence, my bones waxed old through my worry all the long day. Okay, for day and night thy hand was heavy upon me, and my moisture is turned into the drought of summer. Okay, Selah. I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and mine iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgression unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. See, that's the reason I came out without hesitation to point out to the world that, yeah, we're all misguided. And if you don't pay attention to what you're doing and know while you're a small child that there's certain things you shouldn't be doing, regardless to how a lot of people around you make you feel like there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you don't have to wait till you become an adult to realize that you've been really making a mess of yourself. If we had a proper education system going on as to where we get our children right away and teach them, no, see, you can't be doing this, see. No, see, just because it's all in your face and nobody is saying anything about the fact that this is not right doesn't mean that it's not right. It is something horribly wrong with this. It's definitely something that should not be encouraged anywhere. Okay? Anywhere at all. According to these lights that come together and make everything that's a part of the materialism, availability on this planet. And when they start to see you mistreating everything and not wanting to listen, then they'll start drying up all the damn rivers that you need to get your fish and everything out of and move all of your freight and your cargo from point A to point B. Okay? And then water that you don't want it and where you want the water to be, it's not there. Okay? So somebody's trying to talk to you. It's called Mother Nature. Okay? It said, I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and my iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgression unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. Okay? For this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of great waters they shall not come nigh unto him, meaning that the one that understands to be obedient and say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done in spite of all of the intimidations, in spite of all of the hostilities, in spite of all of the resentments, in spite of all of the stalking and intrusions and the bodily damaging, the poisoning and the property damaging, destruction of your materialism, in spite of all that, you be the obedient one. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me with songs of deliverance. And I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. And I will guide thee with mine eye. And be ye not as the horse or as the mule, which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held in with bit and bridle, lest they come near unto thee. Many sorrows shall be in the wicked, but he that trusteth in the Lord, mercy shall compass him about. And be glad in the Lord, and rejoice ye righteous, and shout for joy all ye that are upright in heart. Okay? So that's where I'm at. I just wanted to share a little something with everybody to let you all know that I'm feeling pretty good. I know you haven't heard from me for a minute, but you know, that's only because I've been going through some stuff that's been requiring some isolation and some meditation and all that good stuff like that. So I've been just about healing myself, if you will. That's what I've been doing. Okay? And so that's it, and that's all, just so you all can understand. And I say peace and light to everyone, okay? And have a great day, and all of that good stuff, okay? All right, peace.